Hi there. I'm Jess Lucas, and I'm the moderator for this evening. I'd like to introduce the candidates. My far right, we have Susan Bailey, Diane Demick, and Alan Hallman. Now, just prior to our starting, they drew numbers, and so we're going to have opening statements by each one of them, and after that, we will have there'll be no responses to the opening statement, but there will be questions later, and then that's when the various candidates can respond to the other. So they drew, and Diane Demick begins. 2 minutes.
Wow. First of all, I'd like to thank the Academy for participating. This is the largest crowd I have ever spoken before. I appreciate your attendance tonight. It is an honor for me to be a candidate for mayor for this city. My family has been in Hapeville for 42 years, could be more than that, 45 maybe, 66. I graduated from Hapeville High in 1967. My dad was a member of the group that said, we do what the dad says. I was a senior in high school, and he came home and said, we're moving to Georgia. But Daddy! And we moved to Georgia, and fortunately it was this wonderful place. I worked for Wachovia, First National Bank of Atlanta for 28 years, and I took early retirement when they wanted the group that I was in to move to Richmond after being in Charlotte and in Winston-Salem. And I called my sister and said, you know what, I'm not going to move. I'm coming back to Hapeville. And when she thought I was moving in with her, she let me know the house behind the Simpsons was for sale. I also had the good fortune with Carol working at Delta that Lou Valero came in after I had come back and said that there was a job open at City Hall. And Carol said, what department? And he said, the finance department. And she said, great, that'll be great for Diane. And that was in September of 2003. And I took retirement in August of this year. And decided that I would be of further service to the citizens of this city by running for mayor. I would appreciate your vote. I do have a website, dianeformayor.com. If you have any questions, there's a place to contact me. And 10 seconds. I have 2 great people running with me. I think you will have no losers, no matter who you vote for. Thank you very much.
Good evening. First of all, I want to say a special thank you to the Exchange Club of Hapeville and to the Historic Society for hosting this event tonight. And we've got a full house. It's really good to see folks come out. We appreciate you coming out tonight and being a part of this process. My name's Alan Hallman. I'm 49 years old. I'm a lifelong resident of Hapeville. I've served on City Council for 13 years. I've served as mayor for 8, and prior to that, 6 years on council. So at the end of this year, it'll be a total of 14 years of service to the city. Years ago, or throughout my life, so many people have come through the halls of Hapeville that have touched me and made an impression on my life. Some living, unfortunately, many have passed on. And I decided about 15 years ago that I was going to try to give back to the city that's been so good to me. And I decided to do that by being an elected official. During that period of time, I've had the privilege of serving with a dedicated team of very progressive councils who have done tremendous things in the city of Hapeville. It's been an honor to serve during this period of time, and I hope that you will consider me as your candidate on November the 8th for mayor. Thank you.
My name is Susan Bailey. I was raised in Hapeville. I've served the city on the Development Authority, the Planning Commission, the Appeals Board, and the City Council. A number of years ago, I was on the Development Authority when the Virginia Park area was the most blighted part of this city. The city at that time had a plan, they had a director of economic development, and as you see now, that is now one of the most beautiful parts of this city with some of the most expensive houses. When I was off council 2 years ago, I decided not to run again. Well, obviously that has changed, and it has changed because I see blight creeping back into our neighborhoods. I think that we need a plan for each neighborhood, and I think that we need someone to implement that program. What happened in Virginia Park did not just happen on its own. We had an economic development director, and the developers came to this city because of that person. Now, I don't want you to think this is just Susan's opinion, so I have some statistics that I would like to give you from the census. In the year 2000, we had 163 vacant housing units in Hapeville. In 2010, that increased to 503. The percentage of rental housing has grown from 52 to 58%, and this is a trend that we have got to stop now. We need a highly qualified director of economic development, and we need to re-engage with the neighborhood associations, which the current administration is not doing. It takes a community, and it takes the people in the community coming together to make a city work. Thank you.
What do you feel are the most pressing issues for the upcoming 4 years?
Well, as I have said, repairing the deterioration in our neighborhoods, we have a very large number of vacant houses due to foreclosures. We have a lot of rental properties with absentee landlords, and we have to get a hold on this now. When the Porsche offices are rebuilt, I want the people who work there. Now, there's supposed to be about 400 people. And you know that people who live in Sandy Springs are not going to want to drive back and forth to Hapeville any more than you want to drive back and forth across town. I don't want them to bypass the city because we have blighted neighborhoods. I don't want them going to Peachtree City, Fayetteville, and Noonan, as has happened in the past. I feel that is the biggest problem facing us, and I'm also very concerned about what is going to happen to the rest of the Jacoby property since Atlanta has now purchased 52 acres that is inside the Hapeville limits.
A lot of the things that Susan has mentioned tonight having to do with the foreclosures and vacancies in property are a direct result of the current economy that we're in. Foreclosures are out of control all over the area. I had a meeting with the Atlanta Board of Realtors the other day, kind of a little round table, and we talked about the status of the real estate market in the metropolitan Atlanta area. And I asked them the question, has the market hit the bottom? And they said no. The consensus around the table was no. It's very regionalized. Gwinnett County is leading the charge, unfortunately, because they have such a large inventory of housing. The question is, we all are aware that we have this problem. How do we deal with it? I have devised a plan that I've discussed with the chairman of the Development Authority that I hope that as we think through it and think through the legalities, whereby we can utilize the Development Authority as a vehicle to help offer some incentives to attract developers to redevelop some of these blighted homes.
The pressing issues for the next 4 years, and perhaps on beyond that, I think, as Alan and Susan have said, are the declining property values. When I was in the investment business, they said stocks and bonds can only go to zero. So property values can only go to zero. My thinking on that is what we need to do is to make Hapeville a place that people want to move to. So if you want to increase your demand, you need to have people understand why this is such a wonderful place. We have stellar public safety, public services, and recreation programs. So I believe, as Susan had mentioned, an economic development director who can get this information out to the right place. Thank you.